Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Aura Edition 2-in-1 for 2025. Now, you may have noticed I have the X1 Carbon sitting here, and that's because this is easily the best Ultrabook ever made. If you don't care about touchscreen, it is lightweight, powerful, has great I/O, and this is essentially its 2-in-1 sibling for the most part. Not quite exact, but close, in the same family. And that's why I brought out the X1, just to remind everyone of how excellent that machine is. So there's a lot to live up to with the X1 2-in-1. So this retails for, I think, around $2,700 US. I'll include a link in the description. And in full disclosure, this was furnished to me by the manufacturer for review purposes, but it will be going back once my coverage has been completed. So this thing has essentially much of the same feature set of the X1 Carbon. It is not carbon fiber, and it doesn't weigh 2 pounds. It's closer to 3. 65-watt charger in tow right here. Let's go ahead and just check that out right now, because that's not going to be anything particularly special or that you've never seen before. It is fairly small, but not a new charger by any means. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. And let's get to the machine itself, which I'm excited about because, these 2-in-1s from Lenovo are usually best in class. I'm sure many of you know the Yoga 9i is now available. It is absolutely excellent. This is comparable in many ways to that as well, but it does not have that 2.8K OLED display. There is an OLED display option, but the one that was sent to me for review does not have that display. I believe it's a full HD IPS panel. And overall, this is a completely different design aesthetic than something like a Yoga, but very similar, again, to that X1 Carbon, just a little bit heavier and favors the metallic look rather than the carbon fiber look and feel. So that's really just a matter of personal preference. And I'm sure the pen is in the box, or at least that's what I believe. Let's go ahead and start off with the I/O before I open this up. We've got a Kensington lock right here. I believe that's what that is, back right of the side of the machine. An HDMI 2.1 port, a USB-A port, headphone microphone combo jack, power button. Come around to the front, we have the lip with the camera module. On the left side, we have Thunderbolt 4 ports and another Type A USB port. And that's pretty much it. Ventilation on the bottom of the machine. The hinge is standard fare for what is usually deployed in these ThinkPad 2-in-1s. Really, I should just say many of the ThinkPads. Now, this is a matte display. I'm a big fan of that. Some of you are not. This sample was already prepped by Lenovo. So the pen, I guess, is in the box. I don't know. We didn't see it. It can stick right there for all intents and purposes. I was going to say I have the pen from the Yoga here, but it's actually not right here next to me. Fingerprint scanner, they're just going over. Also, some included accessories. I did not see those in the package either. So I'll have to just take a look and make sure that I somehow did not miss those. But we have the track point, for those of you that were wondering. And again, this is a 14-inch Full HD IPS panel. Of course, fully articulating, this is a true 2-in-1. And we have an Ultra 7 processor, 32 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. So very full featured. Let's go ahead and power it on. It does have a charge, solid I/O here. And that's another thing. If you're wondering, how to differentiate something like this from the Yoga line, it's not just the track point, it's not just styling, it's the I/O. The fact that we have HDMI out on here, as well as more than one Type A port, along with Thunderbolt, just reminds you that this is more of a machine designed for work than play. Doesn't mean that it can't be used for play, however. This webcam, by the way, up at the top, that does have a privacy shutter right here, does support Windows Hello, so that means facial recognition and unlocking is on board, which I absolutely love. And overall, not trying to check connection here. We know we're not connected to the internet. This display is not going to wow anyone, okay? It's just a Full HD IPS panel, but what it might do is deliver some excellent battery life. Now, I believe the battery on this is similar to the one found on the X1 Carbon. It's not the biggest in its class. It's, I think, somewhere a little under 60 watt hours. So I'm expecting solid battery life, just like the X1 Carbon. But, of course, with this lower res IPS panel, maybe we'll get some more headroom. Love the dedicated keys here, just like on all the ThinkPads. I'm a big fan. This is something that has kind of found its way into the Yoga lineup as well, which I think is a good thing. And again, I'm happy they still have the track point on board. Let me go ahead and just get us connected to the internet quickly. Just do that. And again, I do think this bodes, to potentially be a very popular machine. But look, Lenovo is thoroughly saturated right now with great thin and lights. So, this is one of those things where if it's what you've been waiting for, it's here. On the other hand, if you're satisfied by one of the many other offerings that you can pick up right now, I wouldn't be surprised. So I think this has a lot of potential. The hinge is, I can already tell you, not as tight as the one on the Yoga, which, that may bother some users. I could see how it would. It seems to be, it's got a little bit of movement right here. It doesn't wobble, as you can see, but there is some movement. And we'll see what the webcam is like. I don't think it's going to be, it's not the same unit deployed on the Yoga. We'll see how it stacks up. The Yoga is kind of where I feel like the technology is set out to shine by Lenovo. And then these sort of machines are really meant for corporate orders, not so many consumer-driven purchases with it. But again, 32 gigs of RAM, solid processor, ARC 140V graphics. This thing's going to be able to game, even though it's only a 60 hertz panel. You've got a pen touchscreen input. It should have really good battery life. And yeah, it's a work machine. So if you are looking for a 2-in-1 that's thin and light, that's going to be, with its charger, just a little over 3 pounds and change, this probably should be at the top of your shortlist, especially with that I/O. That's really the hallmark of these ThinkPad 2-in-1s, is that you're going to get I/O like HDMI out that you're just not going to find on competing machines. But overall, definitely a nice looking machine. Let me see if that pen, if I missed it, where it actually went here, because I'm a little bit baffled. It is right here in the power brick. That should have been fairly obvious. So let's just go ahead and open that up. And the new pen, this is the first revision of the pen in quite some years, so that is significant. And it does have an open Type-C port for charging. So we'll see how this fares. And again, they were showing in the depiction that it attaches right there. So Lenovo has been mindful about realizing that there needs to be a docking port for this even more sizable pen than from years past. But as strong as that is, I would not leave that there permanently. I think it's more of just something that for flexibility, you have a place to store it. And I think that's what it's really all about. But that rounds things out. Again, a first look unboxing of Lenovo ThinkPad X1 2-in-1 for 2025. Lenovo's really hitting, them out of the park when we specifically focus on thin and light machines this year, but it's also in large part because of the Aura Edition partnership with Intel. Intel's latest silicon just shines in these packages. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.